Hello and welcome to The Discriminating Gamer, the board game review show that shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. My name is Cody, and today I want to tell you all about a game called Ars Victor, the 1-hour war game from Trip West Games.
I'm nothing but a white boy. My father's pride and joy, boy, make no mistake. I wish I drove a caddy. Then I could be a baddie, but it would be fake. Just one day as I walk into a room, everybody say, hey, what you wearing? All the ladies, they would say, I stand for your redneck tearing. Every once in a while I'd like to hear those luscious chocolate ladies. Give me some of your love, but I am just a white man. I never served in Vietnam, never saw war. I ain't a politician.
In Ars Victor, the 1-hour war game, two players are essentially going to war, and they're going to war in a very fun way. What you're going to do is, first of all, you're going to lay out some tiles, creating the play area, the play board, if you will. Then you're each going to have a side. You're going to have a red side, and you're going to have a blue side. And you're going to kind of squad build. You have a set number of points that you can squad build to. Of course, you can vary that and make that whatever number you think might be kind of fun. And you're going to pick units. There's a whole bunch of different units you can choose from in this game. Once you have selected your army, you are then going to place 4 of those units on the board. That's your vanguard. Those are the first guys that are going to come on. One of the other guys that will come on eventually will also be your headquarters. And your headquarters is important for scoring purposes. Now what's going to happen is you're placing the units atop your unique banners. And these banners, which are again in blue or red, have unique suits on them. Now they're either, there's 2 gray suits and there's 2 gold suits. And these are very important for how you're going to be able to move your units in this game. So you're going to get also a deck of cards, and on your turn you get a hand of cards. Now you can play a card from your hand on your turn. In fact, that's what you do to activate your units. Now when you play a card, it's going to have a specific suit on it and a number of tokens that you will draw, up to, I believe, 7. Now what that means is you're going to go ahead and you can place those 7 tokens on your units. And that activates them. Now your units have a lot of different stats. They have movement stats, they have melee attack stats, they have ranged attack stats, and sometimes they have special abilities that will also come into play too. Now you can place, if you want to just move a unit, you can place 1 token on a unit of that suit and move it. If you want to attack with them, essentially, you're going to place 2 tokens so he can move and attack. But here's the thing, if you want to move a unit that is of the same color but of a different suit, it's going to cost you 1 extra token to use that unit, because there's a penalty because you're not playing in the same suit. You can never activate units that have a different color than the color you're playing, the color of the suit you're playing. So you can move your units, you can activate them, and of course once they get there you're going to roll specific dice for your attacks. Now these dice are either white, which are your weakest, red, which are okay, and blue, which are your strongest dice. So your toughest units are going to have the more blue dice. But there's going to be some mitigating factors. For instance, if you're in terrain, that may mean you can only roll white dice, even though if it says you can roll blue dice or red dice. There's going to be things that kind of mitigate your dice rolls here and there. Now, the whole point of the game is to get more points, and you accrue points in various ways. You have a point, glory point track on your that's kind of part of the board you create, and these glory points are won first of all by occupying these kind of glory point hexes. You got 3 of them throughout the center tiles of the game board, and if you can occupy them for every turn that you can occupy that your opponent doesn't occupy, you lose a glory point. And you actually do a glory check at the beginning of every turn. You want to make sure that your opponent can lose glory at the beginning of your turn. Now also, if you are the only player that has your headquarters unit on the board, if you've eliminated your enemy's headquarters unit, you're going to get points for that as well, being the only player on the board with a headquarters unit. If you occupy one of these glory point hexes with a headquarters unit, you're going to get more glory points. So there's different ways here to do it, and the whole game is essentially you're trying to bleed your enemy. Now, one of the biggest ways your enemy will lose glory is when you destroy his units, because they each have a glory cost. That's the same kind of squad building points that you use to build your army. They're going to lose that much glory when that unit is taken off the board. So that's your best way to gain glory points, is to kill enemy units. Now, once one side has exhausted all of their glory, they lose, or if both sides have exhausted all their cards, whoever has the most glory wins the game. Ars Victor is a 1-hour war game. Your first game might take a little bit longer than that as you're kind of developing concepts, but it is a pretty quick game. There's a decent amount of setup, but not a whole lot. But once you get going, it actually plays pretty quickly. It's a pretty easy game to learn and to play, and it is fairly strategic. So that is really cool, that it can be as strategic as it is, and it plays in as quick as it does. That's a major positive for Ars Victor here. Now, also, I gotta tell you, where this game really shines, in my opinion, is the variety that it brings to the table. You're going to have a lot of variety in the sense that you have a lot of different units. There are a whole ton of different units, and they are cool. They can do fun and interesting things, and that's one of the things, I really love in games. If you have cards, if you have units, if you have things that just let you do fun things and unusual things. And this game's got it. It's got a lot of fun units, and I like that, and there's a lot of them. Some of the special units are cool. You have tough units, the really weak dice. When they roll, it takes like 2 of their weak hits to score 1 hit on a tough unit. Stuff like that is really cool. But there's other just really super fun things some of these units can do with their special abilities. Now, I gotta tell you, this game really reminds me of kind of your Command and Colors games. It really reminds me of a Memoir 44, Battle Cry, Battle Lore, Battles of Westeros. It really reminds me of one of these kinds of games. It functions very similar, and I say that because now in kind of a Memoir 44 game, you're kind of limited to how you can move units by the cards you have. You might be set up for a perfect attack, and you need to make an attack on one of your flanks, but if you don't have the right cards, you just can't do it. Well, this is similar, but in a different way, because the cards give you these tokens, and so you can assign the tokens anywhere you want on the board, but you're limited. You don't have that many tokens from one turn to the next, and the suits really limit you. So instead of being kind of limited by what you can do by what flank or the center you're on the board, you're limited by the suits. So the suits play that same role, but it's very similar to the way it plays. I like Ars Victor. I think it's a fun game, but I do have to tell you, if you are a fan of the Commands and Colors game, like Memoir 44, etc., etc., and you own it, I don't know that you need to get Ars Victor, because I feel like it kind of provides that same kind of experience. If you don't have those games, or you're new to those games, this is a good one to start with. I think this is it's not exactly one of those games, but it is very similar, and I think it's fun. I think you'll like it. Because of that similarity to some of those other games, I hesitate to give this a straight buy it recommendation. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a kind of a very positive try it before you buy it. I think you'll like it, but if you played other games like this before, it does feel like it's kind of the same territory. So the Discriminating Gamer gives this, as I say, a very positive try it before you buy it. You'll probably like it. Thank you so much for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment here on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, on our website, thediscriminatinggamer.com. And please, please, please like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. We are The Discriminating Gamer. And to think my high school guidance counselor told me I'd be a big Ars failure.